Hi, Dave Wilkinson here again. In this session we're going to be having a look at triggers and what they are. So what's your reaction when you think of these things? Freshly baked bread, a baby crying, the feeling of clean sheets on a bed when you slip into them, a bill that drops through the letterbox, the smell of freshly mown grass. And what's your reaction when somebody pushes in front of you in a traffic queue? So I just want you to think about those things. We'll go back over them again. So what's your reaction when you think about freshly baked bread? Now most people say they get hungry, that it's a nice homely smell. With babies crying, there's usually a mixed reaction. Some people want to go and help the baby, and it kind of depends on the cry. Some people are irritated, and some people just want to get away from it. And I suppose the situation is going to differ as well. You know, if there's a sound of a baby crying right behind you and you're about to start a transcontinental flight, then that's going to be a very different thing than if you just hear one downtown and the mother's walking away. What about the feeling of freshly laundered sheets on a bed as you slip into them, probably just after you've had a nice warm shower? A bill, a big bill that you weren't expecting. The smell of freshly mown grass. Now this one's really interesting. People who suffer from hay fever usually have a negative reaction, and people who don't suffer from hay fever have a positive reaction to the smell, and quite often it reminds people of summer. And this, whether it's a car or a person who just pushes in front of you in a queue, quite often brings about anger, rage, upset. If you're a typical Brit, probably a lot of tutting. Now all of these things are triggers. And a trigger is simply anything that triggers an emotion. And that's it. Anything that triggers an emotion. So it can be a positive trigger. So the smell of your coffee or something that you really like. Or it can be a negative trigger. So it can be something like the shape of somebody you really don't like walking away, or someone you really don't want to talk to phones you and you look down at your mobile phone and you see it's their name who's phoning you, and that'll be a trigger as well. So there's a whole series of things can be triggers. So what I want you to do over the next 24 hours is I want you to notice your triggers, both the positive and the negative triggers. So notice any time that you have an emotional response to anything, what kind of triggers can you find? And I bet when you really apply your mind to it, you start to find some weird triggers. Okay, I'll see you on the next video.